Total War Warhammer 3 is a turn-based strategy and real-time tactics video game developed by Creative Assembly and published by Sega. It is part of the Total War series, and the third to be set in Games Workshop's Warhammer fantasy fictional universe. As an admitted noob to the universe and lore, I thought I'd take my shot and dive into Warhammer 3 with fresh eyes. The best part about this entry in the series is the prologue, which perfectly sets up newcomers to help understand the world of Warhammer. In the prologue, the motherland of Kislev is dying, and it's your job to find Urson, the bear god who will restore summertime and order. You know, like the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff. You take control of Prince Yuri. Yuri is a mix between one of those dads you see standing around with the Home Depot music playing on TikTok and someone you meet at a gas station in Oklahoma like buying an Icehouse tall boy. And everyone is up his ass about taking this once formidable expedition out on an apparent suicide mission into the Chaos Wastes in search of Urson and a remote outpost called Dervingard. Yuri's brother, Garrick, is the most loyal and also questioning commander. The further north the journey takes you and the further corruption seeds into your expedition. Gameplay in the prologue is narrow and very forgiving while it teaches you the basics with pop-ups and tutorials. I found this game to be extremely easy to follow along and got the hang of basics very quickly, while also knowing that mastering them would probably take some time. Movement, actions, and the welcoming interface, albeit extremely red, all work in tandem and with one another to create a sleek introduction. While the prologue itself is easy, the difficulty can be changed for other campaigns. For my first game out of the prologue, I chose a normal difficulty only to get slaughtered on a regular Grand Cathay campaign. To me, this is a perfect difficulty setting of this game. I'm glad it's hard on normal, especially with me being so new to the mechanics. It gives me a challenge I'm eager to actually overcome in the hours that I plan to invest into Warhammer 3. The graphics are a bit of a mixed bag, but mostly positive with this entry. On one hand, you have the sleek red interface with appropriately badass styled menu options and tool sets, along with insanely detailed environments and battle set pieces. There are even helpful notifications that you just assume have been a long-standing feature, but maybe brand new, such as the squad sleeping indicator, which politely tells you that your squad in your army is doing fuck all and you need to reorder them. On the other hand, some of the character models just look plain or washed out. I can't really decide, and some of those spells and particle effects really lack that oomph that you really want to see during mid-battle as you pull out your ace in the hole spell that you want to change the tide of conflict. There's also a lack of blood, which I heard is a DLC for some reason. Not sure why this is the case. All I'm sure about is that they need to stop being pussyfooting little bitches and give out that DLC for free. It just makes no sense to me. For the most part though, Warhammer nails the aesthetics as a whole.
The traitor squanders his power.
The same can be said for the music in Warhammer 3. From cawing crows to the feeling of cold actually penetrating your bones with wind howls in the prologue, you are immersed in the storyline right away, due in huge part to the music and sound effects. Battles are especially epic with bass-thumping drums, hero action flick-like crescendos, and speeches from commanders that are appropriate to each faction if you get close enough to them before battle begins. Once the battle starts, the clanking of swords while a cannon shoots directly over screen to blast a flanking squad of cavalry is really something to behold, and not many games give you this feeling of epic war quite like this game, even in the RTS or turn-based genres. Well, as all of my favorite emo bands of the early 2000s taught me, with something beautiful comes something super depressing.
Your lipstick is calling up by the angel. I know exactly what goes on.
I'll straight up say it, this game is buggier than a Starbucks coffee roaster. There were times during mid-game that I would crash to desktop with 0 crash notification, or even one time where it hard crashed my actual PC just from alt-tabbing out to check the Discord messages that I had. While infrequent, this was enough to piss me off as load times are pretty horrendous in this game, especially on initial boot up. I also had an instance where my keyboard stopped working just altogether. After an hour or so of research, I came away with the conclusion that this bug has been in this game code since Total War Rome 2, which was a decade ago. So please, Creative Assembly, fix your shit. Just fix it. Eventually, after some tweaks to my computer and swapping USB ports for my keyboard and a mouse and a PC restart, I was able to get my keyboard to function properly, but that was only toward the end of the prologue. So where does this all lead to? Well, the main takeaway from this game is that I genuinely enjoyed my time with it. The caveat to that, however, is that I am also brand new to the series. There are people with 5,000 hours dumped into Warhammer 2 that absolutely consider this game a disgrace, and they are not alone in their sentiment from the mixed review rating it has achieved on Steam. Since I have no reflection to compare it on, I would say that this Warhammer title is 100% worthy of a download on Game Pass, but I would also never pay 60 hard-earned dollars that could go to filling up my gas tank for a game that's this buggy and in dire need of patches and stability fixes. Not to mention that the DLC is really a milestone that needs to be added into this game, and one in particular called Mortal Empires, which combines all 3 Total Warhammer games into one big map. Until these issues are fixed and the DLC is flowing, I can only strictly recommend this as a Game Pass download at the most, regardless of the immense fun I had and will continue to have for the hours that I will put into it into the coming year.